week is just going so quickly, and that led me to today's topic because whilst the concept of time can feel so exciting and we can build that momentum, there's also the flip side of time, the pressure of it, the illusion that we don't have enough, the illusion that it's running out. And I really want to hone in on that because it is a limiting belief, a limiting perspective that keeps us stuck, essentially operating from a survival mode style when our most success self is not operating out of fear of not having enough time. You know that saying, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and I know it can be triggering, but we do. It doesn't matter about whether we have children, whether we have a full-time job, whether we have family commitments, like whatever we have, we all have 24 hours in a day. And if we want to get to the time, sorry, I just glanced at the time, it's like 13:33. I'm loving all the threes that I'm seeing at the minute. If we want to get to the desired reality, then we have to make sure that we're doing the best with our time. So we all feel it. We feel the pressure, the constant ticking of the clock, the never-ending to-do list, and we tell ourselves there's not enough time. We tell ourselves, and then we rush, we stress, we procrastinate, and in doing so, we actually delay the results that we desire. But what if, and this is what I really want to get into today, what if time itself is just an illusion? What if it's our perception of time that is truly keeping us stuck? So today I want to unpack the deep conditioning that we have around time, why we feel like it's running out, and how this belief system is keeping us trapped in a cycle of overwhelm, avoidance, and self-sabotage. But here's where it gets even more interesting. What if the scarcity around time is actually serving us, and there's something called a secondary gain that the subconscious mind has, and it actually protects us from stepping into our next level because it deems it as change, it deems it as unsafe. So we're going to get into that. So if you're ready to shift your relationship with time and show how you can create and succeed without pressure, then this is going to be for you. So we've been conditioned from birth to operate by the clock, especially if we've had a 9 to 5. We wake up to our alarms, we structure our days based on schedules, we set deadlines, we push ourselves to make the most of our time. But this is the paradox. The more that we obsess over time, the less we actually get done because it puts our nervous system in a dysregulated state. The pressure of not having enough time leads to procrastination, overwhelm, and burnout because of the nervous system state. The belief that time is running out disconnects us from our intuition, from our flow, and from our natural rhythm. So our brains don't process time as a fixed external reality. Instead, our perception of time is, first of all, shaped by our emotional state. So stress makes time feel like it's speeding up, whilst presence makes it feel abundant. When we bring ourselves back into this moment, instead of wondering in our mind or fearing that we don't have enough, when we bring ourselves back, we feel like we've got all the amount of time because we are calm, we're at peace, our nervous system is regulated. Our beliefs, if we don't believe there's enough time, our brain is going to filter out reality to confirm that belief using our reticular activating system. And then also the identity that we are operating from. So this version of you who believes they never have enough time will continue to create that experience. And how many times have you caught yourself saying, I just don't have enough time, or I don't think I could do that, I don't have enough time to do that. It's just like the number one excuse why people put their dream life on hold, why you don't start that new business, why you don't leave your career, why you don't start that side hustle, why you don't go and do a new fitness class, why you don't invest in yourself. Like, that is the number one excuse, and it's because of the secondary gain that we've got. So at first glance, it seems like not having enough time is a bad thing. But then when we actually unpack it, we can start to see how this belief is serving us. And this is where the secondary gain comes in. So our subconscious mind doesn't want to sabotage us, it actually wants to protect us. So if we believe that we don't have enough time to start that business, to write that book, to commit to that dream, then you don't have to face the growth, the change, or the success and discomfort that comes with growth. So this keeps us safe from failure because you never fully start, which is also the same as never finishing, never committing, having these great ideas, not acting because you think, oh, I'll do that when I've got more time, and then guess what? It never comes. It also keeps us safe from the judgment, because if you don't go all in, you can't really fail. So it's keeping us safe, keeping us small, keeping us in the familiar little box that we are used to operating from. And it also keeps us safe from expansion, because when we step into a new version of ourselves, it means shedding old identities. So if I don't have enough time, then, and I decide that that is going to no longer be my reality, then what would we have to face instead? And more importantly, what would become possible for you? So I'm just going to ask you that question again. So if you saying you don't have enough time, what would you have to face? What are you avoiding by saying I don't have enough time? And more importantly, what would become possible for you by allowing yourself to change that belief to you have the time to do whatever you want? So the most successful, intuitive and magnetic people don't operate by the clock. They operate by energy. So instead of chasing time, they align that identity and belief system with ease, flow and creation. And that's exactly what we're doing over the next, well, we're on day 16 now. So the intention was to do that over the first 30 days. We're going to continue doing it because why not? So first of all, we need to shift our identity and beliefs around time. So step one, we decide that you have all the time that you need. So instead of I don't have enough time, we have a belief of I create time for what matters. Step two, we live and create from your internal rhythm, not the clock. And this is linked back to your human design. Everyone has a different energetic signature. Follow your peak energy instead of forcing productivity. So not everyone can function working 8 hours a day. Sometimes I perform better at night when the boys are in bed. Sometimes I perform better 11 till 2. I just work whenever I get that excitement to work. And I live very intuitively now. I always plan the night before what I want to do the next day, but I don't have a time schedule of when I want to get that done. I just make sure it's done. So we're also going to detach from the urgency and trust divine timing. So the fastest way to get where you want to go is to stop forcing it, to stop thinking, oh my gosh, like, why am I not doing this? I need it done by this time. I need to rush it. I need to be a millionaire now. Why am I not a millionaire now? When you're only just getting started in your business, you're only just learning the tools. You're only just learning to align your mindset to the version of you who is a millionaire. So you're not going to be generating the income of a millionaire just yet. You're not going to have all the proven strategies and the automation and a fully fledged business where clients are flowing in or sales are flowing in the moment you decide you have that business. Whilst you can speed it up by aligning your identity and your mindset to it, you have to trust that it's a process and you have to have fun throughout the process. Not focusing on time, just letting go of time, knowing that it's going to be done. And when you are aligned, when you've mastered the skill of what it takes energetically to be that version, all the results are going to come flowing in. We also need to move from a scarcity-based schedule to an intuitive one. So we've already touched on this, but ask yourself, what is the most aligned action I can take right now? What feels good? What feels fun? How can I do this in the most expansive, energetic way? Then we need to recognize that flow states collapse time. And you know this. I'm not even going to say have you, because you know you've done this. You've been in a flow state. You've been excited. You have been just doing your work. Then you've glanced at the time and you've been like, oh my days, like I've got so much done in that short space of time. But when you think about doing that task, you naturally allocate hours, or like it could be building a website, building a sales page, or just learning a new skill, and you think, oh my gosh, that's going to take weeks. And then you sit down to do it, you remove the resistance, and there you go, it's done. It's done in an hour. And then we also can rewire our subconscious and nervous system to support this shift. And that's when we use breath work, movement, and visualization to condition a new response to time. So whenever you feel that overwhelm, that anxiety on your chest, you clock watching, you're like, oh, I've got to do the school run soon, or I've got to do this, or whatever it is, just bring yourself back to the present moment. Ground yourself, do your breath work, and your mind will start thinking, oh, I don't have time for this. I've got time to sit here for 15 minutes and ground myself, or to breathe. It's ridiculous, I'll breathe whilst I'm working. No. It will have a profound impact on your productivity if you just give yourself that 15 minutes to ground and regulate, because you'll have more clarity and you'll be in that flow, that focus and flow, and you'll get the task done. It's almost like a bow and arrow effect. You have to pull the bow back to shoot it forward. That's what you need to do. Imagine when you're pulling back, that's you regulating your nervous system, slowing down, letting yourself recalibrate to this present moment, and then you're going to take the action. It's going to propel you forward with the most amount of momentum, which is therefore going to get the results that you want. So I remember when I first did my certification in NLP, and I had this belief. Let me think about this. I must have been probably like, I think my second son was, I don't know, maybe like 9 months at this point. And I kept telling myself, I don't have enough time. I feel overwhelmed. How am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to do this? But I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I could do it. I knew it was possible. And I was staying up till midnight every night. And whilst that wasn't healthy, because I was operating from a limited identity, one of lack and one of also fear that I didn't have enough time, I kept telling myself, which kept reinforcing the fact that I didn't have enough time. And then I cleared that belief, and oh my gosh, the peace and calm that I felt straight after was incredible. And although now I can see when my body wants to go into that state, especially now as we're coming up to the membership launch, and I've managed to find an incredible app software now, so it doesn't even have to be a platform that you have to keep logging into with a domain. It's going to be an app, which is just means the world to me, because that's what I want for you. I just want it to be user friendly, so easy. You just go onto the app every day, choose what you want to clear, choose if you want to reprogram a new belief, choose if you want to listen to a self-concept rampage, success overnight subliminal, a meditation, a higher self-activation. You get to choose. So I'm thinking, oh, I want to build the app, still need to record some scripts and all of the things, and I just felt it in my heart and my chest, like I was feeling that, that sinking feeling, like, oh my gosh, there's a lot to do. But then I just catch myself and I'm like, that is where my old identity pattern is. So it's in that moment that you're like, no, I've got all the time in the world. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. I've got plenty of time. Doesn't actually take that long when you're in the flow state. So you regulate yourself, you take that action. So I hope this is a great reminder for you, because I want you to imagine who you become when you stop rushing. Imagine waking up tomorrow with 0 time anxiety. Taking action, not because you're under pressure, but because you want to. Imagine just trusting yourself so deeply that time bends to your energy, not the other way around. And I have practiced this so many times. Guys, you need to do this. So there's been times when I've wanted to get a task done, and then I've known it's the school run in like 30 minutes or something. And I've noticed myself thinking, oh, I've only got 30 minutes, I'm not going to have time. And then in that moment, I change it and I'm like, no, I've got all the time in the world. Time bends for me. I can do it. And I do it without thinking of the time. I just do the task, and it always gets done before the time. Always, always, always. And it's almost as if time slows down, because you set that intention that you are the controller of your life. You get to say what you do with your time, but it requires you to be in the present moment, to have awareness on your patterns, to notice the belief, to change the belief and take the action anyway. That is how you change your patterns. So this is your invitation to let go of the pressure, to drop the belief that you don't have enough time, and to start stepping into the identity of someone who creates, manifests, and succeeds with ease. Because that version of you, she's already waiting. She's already there. You've connected with her in your heart. You know what she feels like. You know that it's possible. You've had the vision. You know where you're going. The only thing you've got to do now is let go of all of the conditioning and the body's way of pulling you back into that conditioning that keeps you away from experiencing that version of yourself. Because the moment you recalibrate to that version energetically, your reality is going to match up. There is nothing that is out of reach. There is nothing that is impossible for us to attain. And it's actually quite fun doing the process of becoming her. So I'm going to leave some journal prompts to rewire your time paradigm in the show notes below. There's 5 questions. I'm also just going to list them out now just to see if anything comes up subconsciously. Just take the first answer that springs to mind and then just journal on it after. So number 1, what is my earliest memory of feeling pressured by time? How has the belief I don't have enough time protected me? What would my life look like if I truly believed I had all the time I needed? How can I practice intuitive creation instead of operating from urgency? And what is one belief about time I'm ready to let go of today? So I hope this episode has shifted your perspective. I'd love to hear your breakthroughs, whether you comment in the show notes below or send me a message over on Instagram or TikTok. And I will see you tomorrow for day 17 of the challenge. Bye.